Did you know that, often, what we call disinterest can easily be transformed into burning desire? We're not talking about cheap tricks or shallow manipulation, but about a deep understanding of human psychology and the behaviors that truly drive people. The truth is, desire is not something that simply appears. It can be cultivated, nurtured, and yes, even manipulated, but in such a subtle and effective way that you hardly notice it. In this piece, we'll reveal how you can transform that feeling of indifference into genuine attraction, and attraction, in turn, into intense desire. Ready to discover what only a few know about how minds work? Let's dive in. Psychological manipulation is something we all experience in different ways throughout our lives. It hides in the subtleties of human behavior, often imperceptibly, but with profound impacts. What many don't realize is that attraction and desire can be shaped by these psychological games. Imagine a casual conversation where you instantly feel a connection with someone. That feeling might not just be about natural chemistry, but about how the other person subtly manipulates your perception, almost without you even noticing. The techniques involve, among other things, playing with your behavior and emotions, awakening desires, and creating an almost irresistible bond. It's important to understand that manipulation isn't necessarily a bad thing, although it's often associated with questionable intentions. When it comes to desire and attraction, for example, manipulation can be a tool used both to strengthen relationships and to create a sense of desire where none existed before. One example of this is how, in a work environment, a colleague might use specific words or gestures to build a stronger connection and influence your decisions. It's a quiet art of building trust and attractiveness through small behavioral changes in the other person that often go unnoticed. The psychology behind this is fascinating and powerful. Manipulating someone's behavior doesn't mean you have to be a master of persuasion techniques, but understanding the psychology behind how people respond to certain stimuli is key. For example, if you want to spark someone's interest, it helps to observe their behavioral signals, identify what they value, and then touch on those points subtly. This way, you start to create an emotional and psychological connection that gradually turns attraction into desire. Now, imagine a situation where you're on a first date and you feel like something is developing, but you're not quite sure what it is. That could be due to a subtle manipulation happening all the time without you even realizing. The way the other person makes you feel special or focused on you might have been deliberately planned to create this effect. There's nothing wrong with using these techniques to build a relationship, but what should be avoided is manipulation with selfish intentions, seeking only to take advantage without considering the other person. How can we then identify when we're being manipulated, and more importantly, how do we use these dynamics to our advantage? The key lies in self-awareness and understanding the desires and behaviors we're influencing. This allows you to control your own reactions and, with that, guide your interactions more effectively. And that's where the next step comes in. Understanding the process of attraction and desire, which goes far beyond just liking someone. Psychology plays a crucial role in creating and maintaining human desire. What many people don't realize is that desire doesn't arise spontaneously, but is shaped by a set of psychological factors. This includes everything from how we feel about someone or something to the small interactions that turn simple attraction into burning desire. The human brain is designed to respond to certain triggers, and once we can identify those, we can subtly influence another person's behavior to work in our favor. A simple glance, a word at the right moment, or even a touch can activate those triggers, making the person more attracted to you and more susceptible to desire. Many people confuse attraction with desire, but it's important to recognize the difference. Attraction can be superficial and fleeting, often based just on appearance or a first impression. Desire, on the other hand, is deeper and goes beyond the physical. It involves the psychology of the individual and is fueled by emotions and internal needs. This explains why someone might be attracted to someone else and, after a while, their desire for that person intensifies as they build a stronger emotional connection. One example of this is couples who begin with physical attraction, and over time, develop a deeper emotional and psychological desire based on shared experiences and the growth of trust within the relationship. By understanding the role of psychology in creating desire, it's possible to apply these principles practically. For example, if you want to strengthen a connection with someone, it's important to know what psychological aspects drive them. What do they value? What makes them feel secure and comfortable? These points are essential in fostering a deeper desire. The psychology behind this involves creating a narrative that aligns with the other person's values and desires, so that their behavior naturally matches what you want to nurture. However, caution is needed. Creating desire isn't about manipulation, but about creating a psychological environment where the person feels naturally attracted and connected. This can involve moments of vulnerability, where you share your own emotions and desires, fostering a sense of empathy and trust. This type of behavior allows desire to grow more authentically, without tricks or gimmicks. It's not about forcing a bond, but letting it develop naturally, based on mutual understanding. Finally, it's essential to understand that the psychology behind attraction and desire isn't a linear process. As you delve deeper into this understanding, you begin to notice the small signals and behaviors that create and feed desire. And this leads us to the next phase, where human behavior, through actions and reactions, continuously shapes what we feel and desire. The relationship between manipulation and behavior is one of the most intriguing aspects of human psychology. Manipulation is not, as many imagine, something that one person does to another in an explicit and malicious way. It's present all the time, even in the most everyday interactions. Attraction and desire, for instance, can be manipulated so subtly that you don't even realize you're being influenced. But once you understand how human behavior works, you start to notice that many of your choices and decisions are being shaped by these external influences. A simple example of this would be a salesperson knowing exactly how you respond to a promotion, which can be seen as a clear instance of psychological manipulation. It's important, then, to recognize how human behavior can be altered by these stimuli, without the person even realizing what's happening. When you create an environment where people feel comfortable, understood, and valued, you're actually manipulating their behavior to generate an effect of attraction. This is used both in marketing and interpersonal relationships. Imagine you're in a conversation, and someone starts making you feel incredibly at ease, pointing out your qualities, reflecting your emotions, and even behaving in ways you find attractive. This type of emotional manipulation, done subtly, leads the other person's behavior to align with what you want, without them even realizing it. This kind of manipulation is effective because it's tied to one of the most primal human impulses, the desire for belonging. We all, to some degree, want to be accepted and admired by others. And it's exactly here that the power of manipulated behavior comes into play. When someone is able to manipulate your emotions and spark in you the desire to connect, your behavior starts to change. You become more receptive to that person, more willing to please them, and even to follow their suggestions. A clear example of this is how digital influencers are able to shape the attitudes and desires of their followers, with a promise of inclusion, acceptance, and belonging to an exclusive group. By recognizing how behavior is shaped by these influences, you can learn to use manipulation more consciously. Creating situations where people feel important and valued is one way to spark desires and influence behavior. The psychology behind this involves understanding the brain's reward mechanisms. When someone acts in a way that makes us feel good or meets our desires, our mind releases dopamine, which creates a sense of pleasure. This is one of the main motivators of human behavior and is constantly exploited by those who know how to manipulate these reactions to their advantage. However, while manipulation can be a powerful tool for changing behavior, it's essential to use it ethically. Manipulating someone's behavior for selfish purposes can breed resentment and discomfort. The real key here is understanding how you can influence others' behavior genuinely, without resorting to tricks. This brings us to the next question. How can you transform initial attraction into lasting desire, a desire fueled by genuine and authentic behavior? Attraction is a crucial first step in any human interaction, but what makes it last is the transformation of that attraction into desire. When you feel that first spark of interest in someone, whether through an interesting conversation or a kind gesture, that's just the beginning. The real magic happens when that attraction evolves into a genuine desire to be close, to know more deeply, or even to become emotionally involved. This process is entirely driven by psychological factors, where the other person's behavior starts to touch on specific points in your own psyche. It's at this moment that desire begins to take shape, not just through physical attraction, but through the emotional connection that's established. A good way to understand this is by observing how certain relationships begin. In the beginning, everything might seem light, a simple exchange of glances or words. But as you spend more time with a person, you start noticing behaviors that spark even more interest and desire. It might be the way they listen, how they communicate, or even shared values. When attraction is accompanied by a deeper connection, whether emotional, psychological, or even intellectual, it transforms into something more intense. Desire. This desire, however, goes beyond just wanting to be near someone. It's linked to a sense of need, a feeling you can't ignore because it starts to shape your behavior almost automatically. But how do you make this attraction evolve into something deeper? The key lies in reciprocity. When someone shows genuine interest in you, your emotions start to stir, and desire begins to take form. A practical example of this is when someone shares something personal or vulnerable, making you feel more connected to them. This type of behavior creates a safe space for desire to develop naturally. Interactions and shared experiences over time build emotional closeness, which feeds the desire to be ever closer to that person. And thus, initial attraction becomes a driving force that shapes both people's behaviors. Behavior also plays a crucial role in this process of transformation. When you engage in an authentic and consistent manner, desire grows. This can be observed in relationships where one partner always cares for the other, offering constant support and affection. This behavior not only keeps the flame of attraction alive, but also solidifies desire. People are drawn to behaviors that demonstrate care, respect, and understanding, factors that nurture a deeper desire. It's this behavior that creates such a strong bond that initial attraction can become something much more powerful and enduring. However, this process is not automatic. The transformation of attraction into desire depends on the continuity and quality of interactions. If attraction is not nurtured with consistent behaviors, it may dissipate. Therefore, it is crucial to understand the impact of daily behaviors, the small actions that reinforce desire and allow it to grow over time. By understanding how these mechanisms work, you are one step closer to knowing how to generate this desire in a genuine and lasting way, creating a connection that goes far beyond initial attraction. Human behavior is a powerful force capable of shaping and even redefining the desire and attraction we feel for others. When it comes to establishing lasting relationships, behavior is the thread that keeps the flame burning. The way we behave toward others, whether through gestures of affection, attention, or even how we handle adversities, has a profound impact on the kind of desire we cultivate over time. This behavior, often influenced by psychology and manipulation, creates a solid foundation that turns attraction into something stronger and, ultimately, into a lasting desire. Now, think about how someone's behavior can affect your own attitudes. When you feel that someone is genuinely interested in your well-being, for example, it's hard not to start nurturing a desire to reciprocate that affection. This desire isn't based solely on physical attraction or superficial charm. It's based on how the other person's behavior makes you feel. This becomes even more powerful when the behavior is consistent and aligned with your emotional needs. When you see that someone's behaviors and attitudes align with what you desire, initial attraction transforms into something that cannot be easily ignored. The issue of behavior and its lasting effects goes far beyond fleeting attraction. When you act truthfully, showing your genuine self and consistently returning to your most authentic behaviors, you begin to create a foundation for desire that transcends appearance. This can be seen in a relationship that starts with a simple flirtation and, over time, transforms into a deep emotional bond based on mutual trust and respect. This trust is a key element that sustains desire over time, making it strong, without relying solely on moments or external stimuli. But what happens when behavior is misaligned with desires? When someone, for example, starts behaving inconsistently or disinterestedly, attraction can quickly turn into disinterest. This kind of destructive behavior not only weakens attraction but also destroys any chance of lasting desire. Behaviors like rejection, indifference, or even malicious manipulation can create emotional barriers that block any chance of healthy desire. Therefore, by understanding the relationship between behavior and desire, you start to see how essential it is to maintain a positive and consistent attitude for desire to stay alive. With that in mind, it's clear that behavior not only influences desire, but fundamentally shapes it. When you can align your behaviors with the needs and desires of another person, you create a cycle of reciprocity, where desire constantly feeds itself. Initial attraction might be the starting point, but it's consistent behaviors that ensure the continuity and strengthening of that desire over time. And by understanding and applying this consciously, you begin to realize that true power over human behavior lies in the ability to shape it in ways that create lasting and genuine connections. Have you ever thought about having any woman you want just through text messages? There's a secret that all women keep with them. This secret is a mental trigger that activates in their minds when you send certain specific messages. I teach all of this in an ebook, which I'll leave as a gift in the first pinned comment on this video. It's not free because I put work into it, but it's almost free, as the price is ridiculously low, cheaper than a snack. Go ahead and grab your gift. Now that you know how psychological manipulation can transform attraction into desire, it's time to apply this knowledge practically. The real key to influencing others' feelings and behaviors lies in understanding how your actions impact their emotions. What will you do with this information? How can you use these principles to create deeper and more lasting connections in your personal and professional life? Change starts with small actions, and each step brings you closer to creating the attraction and desire you want. So why not start now? Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep exploring the strategies that can transform your life. Don't let the chance to change slip away. The power is in your hands. And have you ever imagined becoming irresistible just by using psychology to your advantage? There's a way to put this into practice in a very simple way, but that's a topic for another video. The good news is that I've already recorded it, and it's right here on your screen. Click there, and I'll see you there.